welcome back to another edition of the OHIO podcast. I am your host, Buckeye Boggs, aka the Podfather, and we're thankful you decided to join us this evening for another Sunday night discussion roundtable show. If you don't mind, smash that like button right off the bat for us, everybody. If you're watching this replay, please hit that like button. Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Ring the bell. Get notified every time we go live. We are the official Ohio State podcast of Fansided and Scarlet and Game. Head over to scarletgame.com. If you don't like the way my face looks, think how I feel. I wake up and look at this thing every single day. You can find us over at scarletgame.com or wherever you download your podcasts from coast to coast. We are the official Ohio State podcast of the College Huddle as well. Head on over to thecollegehuddle.com if you don't mind and check us out there and 75 to 80 of our closest friends from coast to coast. Today's episode is brought to you by A Place at Home Senior Care. Is your loved one recovering from a recent hospitalization, stroke, or fall, or living with dementia and needing support at home? A Place at Home Dublin provides home care supportive services like bathing, dressing, mobility assistance, and medication reminders, all in the comfort at home. Learn more at aplaceathome.com/Dublin or call 740-472-8181. Again, that's 740-472-8181. Joining us this evening for our Sunday night roundtable is the home team, Cory and Chris, and our special guest, our good friend, former Buckeye national champion, Jamal Luke. Jamal, welcome back to the OHIO podcast, my friend.
Eric, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you again for the opportunity to join you on the platform again. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to an exciting show.
Yeah, we got a good one planned for everybody, Jamal. But before we dive into that, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you're doing these days, and a little bit about your time with the Buckeyes.
Yeah, so still living in Central Ohio. That's home for me. Born and raised here, so Buckeye through and through. After I finished up playing back in 2004, chased pro ball for a few years, then ended up moving away for a short period of time to New York and came back in 2005 and been planted back in Central Ohio ever since. And currently, being a dad to three, I've got my oldest is now 17 years old, and then I have a soon to be 12-year-old and then a 9-year-old. So two girls and a boy on the end. And my son is the next Buckeye football player in the family. He's all about football right now, so I think he'll be much better than his dad was. But also running a couple businesses, insurance business, and a day trading business as well. And talking sports here, there, and wherever I can.
Are you still doing the high school football calling
I
shows?
am. Yeah, absolutely. So I do during the fall, I do Delaware County Game of the Week on WDLR. So I do any of the Olentangy schools, Big Walnut, Delaware Hayes, and Buckeye Valley. So you can catch me on the radio airwaves for high school football Delaware County Game of the Week in the fall as well.
So a little update, Jamal. Last time we were watching high school football in Delaware together, and I said, "Hey, my nephew's down there. He got a Scully to the University of Indianapolis, so
Awesome.
he's a Greyhound out there, and
There you go.
they redshirted him his first year, and he's going to be probably looking at being on the two deep this year. So
Awesome.
yeah, so he's doing well for himself, and that was a really fun game that day. So uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, welcome to the program, Jamal. Anyway, is there any way you would or any way anybody could get a hold of you if they're looking for some insurance or some day trading advice?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on all social media handles at JLukeYDC. Again, that's JLUKEYDC. So definitely look me up Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X now, I guess as they call it. But definitely connect with me. Would love to meet and greet you and help you any way that I can with any of those needs, as well as just talk some football.
Let's do it. All right, guys. So tonight's topic is going to be an interesting one. We are going to rank the position groups at Ohio State for this year from from worst to first or first to worst, however we want to look. I guess first to worst is how we'll do it. The reason why I wanted to do this exercise this evening is I wanted to see if the position group that I fear the most for this year is shared by everybody or if it's just my own personal fear. And so I thought, what a better way to do this than to just kind of pick everybody's mind and look at this from the position group standpoint. Now, how I broke this down for us this evening was on the offensive side, we have the quarterbacks, the running backs, the tight ends, the wide receivers, and the offensive line. On the defense, I went total defensive line, linebackers, cornerbacks, and then safeties. I did break apart the cornerbacks and safeties for this exercise because of the way we've ran our defense in the most recent years. So that being said, let's dive in tonight and the first or the most what we think is the best position group going into this year. Um, oh yeah, let's just start with that question, right? This was for you, Cory.
Yeah. Hey, Braxton. He's in my group chat. He's messing with me, but of course, Devin Brown starts over Sand, obviously.
Yeah, maybe if we were in California. Yeah, that's
You
funny.
know that look I like to give our friend Dan when he calls in Eric?
Yeah.
Cory's getting that look right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. Oh, he did thank you though. That was
Yeah.
very kind of him. He did thank you for answering his
He's a
question.
nice guy for sure, but that's yeah. I knew he's coming on to give me a little bit of something.
All right, let's go ahead and we'll just go clockwise. We'll start with you first, Jamal, since you're our guest. What position group do you think are you most confident is the best position group we've got going into 2025?
Now, I may be a little biased because I am a former wide receiver, but I'm going to go with the wide receiver position. And the reason I'm going to go with that is because anytime you have a position group that is headlined by the number one player in all of college football, talking about Jeremiah Smith, you've got to immediately establish that as the strength of your football team. And so obviously Jeremiah is the headliner, but then you have guys like Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis who have made plays at big time moments in their careers at Ohio State. So you have the X, the Z, and the slot position headlined by guys that have made plays for Ohio State already. And then you have backing them up, you have some really, really good depth, some young guys that really took a big step forward this spring, really headlined by Quincy Porter, the true freshman, who made some not only plays in practice, but he showed up really, really nice in the spring game as well. So you have that position, to me, is the strength of the OSU football team for 2025.
Yeah, he's absolutely right, Eric. I mean, they are the gold standard, not just for Ohio State, but for every wide receiver or every wide receiving unit in the country. They are the gold standard. You got Smith, you've got Tate, you got Ennis, like he said. You've got Quincy Porter, Mylan Graham, very, very, I think, kind of flying below the radar right now. A guy who I think is going to put up some huge numbers when he gets his opportunities. Uh, right on down through, freshmen like Philip Bell, who's coming in there. And now, granted, I don't think he's going to see a lot this year, but this is just a completely packed room, stacked full of talent, and we know all that Brian Hartline does is produce first round draft picks. So yeah, by far, I think the best group on the team.
Well, let's just make it 3 for 3. Wide receiver was my
Mhm.
number one as well. Let's think about this for just a second, though. To say we can sit here and say they're the number one position group on a team when clearly they actually over the years have lost some first round amazing talent, and yet we're still sitting here going, "Oh, they're still the number one position group on the team." Jamal said it best. You got number one player in college leading it. He's been in big games, made huge plays. We already know what he can do. Carnell's made big plays, and he stepped like the Texas game nobody talks about. He had to step up that game, and he did.
Mhm.
And Ennis has shown flashes, of course, and he has a leadership about him as well. And again, Mylan Graham, a guy who's going to steal a lot of reps this year. He's so talented. I mean, Usually I worry about the little bit of inexperience behind the top three, but these guys are so talented. I'm not even really concerned about it.
Yeah, it's number one for me as well. It's not even a question.
Clean sweep.
Yeah, why even try to fight it? Let me ask you this question, Jamal, as a former wide receiver. I'm imagining that defensive coordinators are staying up at night trying to figure out how they're going to stop Jeremiah Smith.
Hmm.
As an offensive guy, I mean, right away, like I'm thinking in my head, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Carnell Tate and these other guys, these other receivers should be foaming at the mouth thinking, I'm going to get one-on-one coverage a lot. Or they're going to be so concerned about Jeremiah bracketing him that I'm going to be wide open more times than not. Is that kind of something that you think of, or is that kind of a false, thinking that I have here?
No, absolutely. You're spot on, E, because if I'm Carnell Tate, if I'm Brandon Ennis, or any of these guys, Mylan Graham, that are going to be rotating in, I know going in, I'm probably going to have single coverage 9 times out of 10. So this is the year we're going to make our money. So you think about a guy like Carnell Tate, he's going to be singled up a lot this year. He can have a breakout year and be ready for the draft based on his production this year when he's getting one-on-one coverage almost week in, week out. That's why we call this a money year for guys like that, because going in every week you're going to get single coverage 9 times out of 10. And here's the deal: if they ever don't get single coverage and they choose to leave single coverage on Jeremiah Smith, now you're asking for your job to be let go as a defensive coordinator. So this is definitely the year for guys like Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis to go make their money.
I was listening to the pod from a couple weeks ago, and we had Alan DeGraffenreid on, and his story about um,
AD.
he go, number six.
Big
He was
six.
big
Big time.
six, big six. And I'm thinking, how many times if they go one on one, the quarterback should be thinking, big four, big four. Where's he at?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
remember, if you remember, Corey, on that last first down of the national championship game, right before the play had it, they said it. I go, they got
Yeah.
Jeremiah one on one. They got Jeremiah one on one, and it was like, why not? You have to take that shot. If he's one on one, he's that good. It's a no brainer. It's wide
Well,
receiver.
they were also expecting a slant there. That corner was very clearly. That's why he had inside leverage in the receiver. Jeremiah read it perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of chemistry between Howard and Smith was developed over time, and of course,
Mm.
that's what we're hoping happens here for Julian Sane or Evan Brown. Apparently, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Julian Sane or Lincoln Keenholz in Smith. Although I'm leaning towards
Or that
Julian
new
Sane.
guy they just got. No, I'm kidding. I don't.
Yeah, right. All right. Second, number two, Jamal. What position group behind wide receivers would you give the second nod to?
Now, and I bet this is probably where we're going to not get the clean sweep between the four of us. But for me, I went with number two. I went with running back. Now, here's why I went with running back. Now, w- I like CJ Donaldson. I like his experience that he's bringing from West Virginia. You got a guy who's proven it in a Power Five conference. He's the workhorse there. But then you also have a guy like James Peoples, who didn't get a lot of run last year, but he got enough to get his feet wet. And he's a guy that I know Coach Lockley is very, very high on. He's got the build to be one of those kind of Junkins type backs. I think between him and Donaldson, that can be an equivalent 1-2 punch of what we saw last year with Henderson and Junkins. So, and then I like Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson is a guy that flashed at times in the spring. He's a home run threat. I don't know how much time he'll get if the Donaldson Peoples pair pans out, but I think with that depth, with Donaldson's experience, with Peoples' experience and potential, I got to go with the running backs as my second strength of the team.
Yeah, Ryan Day's championship beer was talking about the backs and blocking, how we're going to miss Henderson's blocking as a back on passing down. Uh, they have been working on that a ton this spring. Coach
Hmm.
Locke has talked about that. Like, hey, listen, guys, you want to play, you got to block. So yeah, I think we're going to be just fine there as well. Chris, number 2.
You know, it's hard to go against a guy who put 2,000-yard rushers out last year, but I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the safeties. I think, you know, I know we're replacing Lathan, but, you know, Caleb Downs, you know, Jamal talked about Jeremiah as the number 1 guy in the country in all college football. Caleb Downs may be number 2. He may be the best defensive player in the country. And he's leading a group, you know, Malik Hartford, Fahim Delane, a couple of guys who I think are very, very good and going to show out big this year. You've got, like, I just feel a really strong group there. So that's why I went with them number 2.
I'm going offensive line number 2. The interior of the line is extremely experienced. Carson Hinsman's already established as one of the top centers in the Big Ten, if not the top center in the Big Ten. Who knows? Luke Montgomery, Tegra Shabola, and Ostervold. I know he's going to might kick out to the right tackle, but that's just a ton of experience you're bringing back in the middle of the line there. And then you bring in Philip Daniels. So if he doesn't start at right tackle, he's a heck of a 6th guy. And then I really believe in Onwenia, or however you say his name. I know I can't say it right, but the left tackle, I think he's going to be
just Ethan.
Yeah, Ethan. I believe in Ethan. Ethan Hunt. Yes. I think he's going to be an exceptional left tackle. He's got all the physical tools to be that way, and I really think the offensive line is going to be a strength of the team this year. And it's so important to have that line of scrimmage set. That's all I can say.
Oni Awa.
I'm not going to remember that. Jamal, I mean, I know you don't know me, but I am terrible with names. If it's not like Jack Smith, I can't do it. So.
Right.
Cory, I'm going to agree with you, buddy. I went with offensive line, and if you have been following this show since we started, Chris and I have been preaching about how you win in the trenches. That's where you win these games. We don't win a national championship if that offensive line doesn't go on just one heck of a run in that playoff, man. And here's what's exciting about it is they're bringing back 4 of those guys who were playing in that championship game. And they didn't start the season. That's what's amazing about this. We got absolutely just blown up on the offensive line in injuries. You had our best offensive line kicking out from guard, our offensive lineman kicking out from guard to tackle to finish the year, you know, and then you got a guy coming back in and playing backup center, and you're throwing guards around, and I mean, I'm tickled pink by this offensive line, and they looked great in the spring. I went with offensive line number 2. Number 3, Jamal.
Yeah, and so that was a toss up for me. The offensive line number 3 for me. I debated about this going back and forth between them and the running backs as number 2. But I'll second that what you guys just mentioned there. So the interior part of the offensive line is definitely something to be really, really excited about between Montgomery and Hinsman and Shabola. And I think, like you said, everything starts up front. And so again, it could go either way for me, 2, 3, that position. But I'm definitely a lot more excited about this offensive line group coming into this season than I was going into last. I think this is going to be one of those years that we can really uh, enforce our will on teams up front because of this group that we have coming back this year.
Shout out
Yeah.
from Roy James. He says, "Hey Jamal, good to see you on the podcast tonight." Our buddy Roy.
Hey, my guy, what's up, Roy?
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Number 3 is also where I have the offensive line. I'm not gonna lie. I know they're solid up the middle, but I've got, as excited as I am about the tackles, I've got to see it. I got to see it here for me, and that just was a little too much for me. So I went with offensive line at 3.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I'm going to go number 3. I got tight ends. because I like what we have there. I think Keenan Bailey has just completely overhauled and rebuilt that room, and I'm so impressed with the work he's done. Obviously, we know about clearly. I mean, he's going to start. He's going to be the guy. And I like Kazmarek as a blocker. I think he's really nice to have in there. I like the young guys we have, Nate Roberts and Matt LeBlanc, and I like Thurman. I think his potential's there. So it'll be interesting to see how it all lines up to who the number 2 and number 3 guys are. But I mean, the addition of Max Clare just takes that from a solid okay room to holy crap, you can actually use this as a weapon.
Yeah. Number 3 is actually where I went with the safeties. When you have Caleb Downs and someone, I was talking with the Buckeye boys about this the other night, and I said, they said, who do you think is going to be the other safety? I said, it doesn't matter.
They're going to be stellar no matter what.
You got Caleb Downs. You could put me at safety and he would make me look better. Okay. Like that's how good he is. And so I'm going to go safeties number 3. Number 4, Jamal.
All right, so I had a little bit of a toss up here. I ended up actually going with the linebackers for number 4. Um, and the reason led by Sonny Styles. I mean, I think Sonny Styles can be one of those hallmark OSU linebackers when it's all said and done after this year. But then I also like Arvell Reese and the potential that he's flashed. He's a guy that can absolutely run sideline to sideline, doesn't mind sticking his nose up in there. And I think with him coming on this year as the new Mike linebacker, I think him and Styles are going to, in my opinion, are going to be the best linebacking core in the Big Ten. And so I had to go with them at number 4.
Yeah, that's also who I had at number 4. And, I'm not going to rehash everything Jamal just did, but let's not forget we got some decent depth there with Peyton Pierce, who I think is very solid. And then, there's a lot of hype around Riley Pettijohn right now.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like this could be a really solid room. And let's forget, one of the fastest guys on the team is into 3 deep, and that's Garrett Stover.
Mm-hmm.
3 for 3 linebacker at number 4. I think we're all copying each other. So, you know what? They're blowing Arvell Reese in the offseason hype train. Matt Patricia loves them. I love the depth. James Laurinaitis is building there with Pettijohn, and let's not forget Alfred and is another young guy that they like, and Peyton Pierce, obviously. I think, I'll tell you, Laurinaitis is doing exactly what we all thought he could do. He is rebuilding that linebacker room and making it again an Ohio State linebacker room. And it's really a sight to see, because I know we all grew up with that. Jamal, you were on a team with some amazing linebackers.
Absolutely.
So it's like it's just nice to see that we're seeing that resurgence of, oh man, Ohio State's getting some great linebackers, and it's fun to watch. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see Sonny as well, see his growth. His growth last year was so much fun to watch.
Make it 4 for 4. Why not? You know what I'm really excited about, and this is just kind of a personal take, but I'm really excited for for Sonny to getting to play with his brother this year, and for their family to get to watch both those boys play at the same time. Like the rarity of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like maybe a handful of dads who've ever got to watch 2 of their boys play on Ohio State at the same time. So that's pretty cool. Shout out Lorenzo Styles, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's that. And gosh, you want to talk about an animal, Lorenzo Styles.
Oh, vicious.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm really excited about the linebackers room. And I tell you, I've got this little sneaking suspicion that Peyton Pierce has got a little bit of James Laurinaitis in him. There's a little animal in there somewhere, and I think he's going to pull it out on him. But yeah, the depth on that linebacking core, I won't be surprised if at times we don't go play a 4-3 just because the third linebacker offers us just more versatility and better defense than a 4-2-5. So
yeah.
I wonder if we'll see that more this year. Number 5.
So number 5, this is where I went with the safety group, and obviously Caleb Downs. as mentioned by Chris, I think he is the number two player, not by much, but number two player in the country in college football at any position. It's probably a toss up between him and Ryan Williams out at Alabama, but Caleb Downs headlines that group. The only reason I had them a little lower is I don't have as much faith in that we could put E out there at the strong safety position and be okay.
What? Come on, man.
I believe in
I'm
you, E. I
losing
believe
weight,
in you,
Jamal. I'm
but
losing
I
weight,
don't.
brother.
It's big time college football, man. I don't know, but I think I just need to see Malik Hartford and Jalen McClain, one of those guys, really step up and take ownership of that strong safety position, to be a strong tandem back there. So that's the only reason I had them a little bit lower at number 5 for me.
Yeah, at 5, this is where I've got the running back slot slid in. I like Donaldson a lot. I like obviously, we talk about James Peoples. I think he didn't get a lot of playing time, but averaged about what 5.9 a carry, I believe, when he was in there, 5.4 carry. Either way, pretty good numbers there. And then the two freshmen, of course, Turbo Rogers, Bo Jackson, and let's not forget Sam Williams Dixon came back out of the portal as well. Or Dick, yeah, that's him, Sam Williams Dixon. Took me a second, but yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be a very solid room. And like I said, it's hard to bet against a guy who put 2,000-yard rushers out last season.
Number 5 for me is the corners. I like Iggy. I like Jermaine Matthews. Lorenzo Styles probably be the nickel, or Miles Walker. I think is another candidate there. And I like Best. I like Pryor. And am I saying
Scott,
their name?
Aaron
Aaron's
Scott.
thinking Aaron Pryor, the boxer, for some reason. My goodness. Anyway, but I like these guys. I like the depth they give. Devin Sanchez, of course, is going to be on the field. We all know that. I think it's a pretty solid group. It's just can Iggy get rid of his penalty problems? Can Matthews be the guy every down? It'll be some questions to answer. That's why they're 5th, but I think they got the talents there for sure.
I'm glad you went there first because I was like, am I the first person that's going to say cornerbacks here? Maybe I'm wrong. So I'm glad you went that way, Cory, because this is where I have the cornerbacks, and I think whether we at the time it got poo-pooed a little bit for some reason. I think Iggy coming back for his senior year is actually pretty big. I think that solidifies that room. It gives you guys. Let's not forget he's been a starter now. This will be his 4th year as a starter. He started as a true freshman for Ole Miss, for Lane Kiffin down there in Ole Miss, and so this will be his 4th year starting at cornerback, and that room is deep. It is very, very deep and very, very good. And if someone ain't cutting it, they'll pull them and put someone else in to get some more playing time. So I'm pretty bullish on the cornerback room this year. Number 6.
Number 6, this is where I'm gonna go corners. I'm not as high on them as you guys just mentioned. I like Matthews. Matthews has shown flashes. I just need to see it consistently. He's got the talent. He's got the potential. Matter of fact, I think he could take over as being the lead corner this year. I just have to see it. With Iggy, I have zero faith in him. I love him as a person, but pass interference left and right. There was nothing for me. Um, that excites me, about him coming back this year. I think he has potential. Obviously, he's been a starter, so he's got the potential. You can't start at Ohio State. Matter of fact, you can't be on a team at Ohio State and not have some type of talent. However, I just have not seen him consistently be a guy that can be a shutdown corner. And so, because lack of experience with Matthews consistently, and what Iggy has shown me on a consistent basis, which is to be a penalty waiting to happen. This is why I had to put this group at number 6.
Yeah, I've got him at number 6 as well, and I look at it like this. This unit could be maybe the second best unit on the team, or it could be the worst unit on the team. We just don't know yet. Igbinosin, a lot of it revolves around can he control the penalty issues? I do agree with you, Eric. I think it's important that he came back because we need that senior leadership. But don't be surprised if whether it's he or Matthews, we don't see Devin Sanchez stealing some playing time.
Maybe.
So I'm not 100% sure or sold on exactly how the corner is going to shake out yet, so I had to bring him in at 6.
This is where I have safeties. It's number 6. I know Caleb Downs. If it weren't for Caleb, I'd have a 9. So I don't know anything about McLean or Hartford or Philem Delane yet. I know they all have talent. I know you have to be talented to be on Ohio State, but they got to do something for me to see it. Caleb, obviously, dude, you're proven you're the best in the country. I love you. You're the one dragging the Titanic out of the water right now for this position group. But everybody else is extremely unproven.
This is where I've got the running backs at, and I think they're deep but very inexperienced outside of CJ. And he's coming from West Virginia, and it's a different kind of ball here in the Big Ten than is the Big 12. But that also could be a very good thing because when we last saw him in spring game, he had running holes that he never saw in West Virginia ever. I had made the joke that the first time he carried the ball and he hit the line and he saw that there was nobody there because they had just moved. His eyes had to be like this. He was like, "Oh, that's what that looks like. No wonder I lost 20 pounds. Now I can hit the hole a lot better." But anyways, I like the running back room. And of course, you guys know I have an affinity for Bo Jackson. I gotta have that shirt made. Bo knows Buckeyes. We gotta get that made.
So Eric,
yeah.
I really feel like CJ Donaldson's going to be really fresh too because, they don't play defense in the Big 12.
They don't.
So he hasn't taken many hits.
Mm-mm. He never. What was his longest carry? 20 yards.
It wasn't much.
It might have been less than that. Hot take. He'll have 3 of those in the first 2 games.
Probably.
Just because of how good this offensive line is.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Number 7 for me, this is where I'm going to go with tight end. And I go with them at number 7 here, really just due to experience. And I know Max Clare is coming back in terms of back in the Big Ten, had a great year at Purdue. So I like what he did at Purdue. I think he can be actually a big time tight end for us. I also like Will, I'm going to butcher his last name as well, Kasmerick,
Yep.
who's another transfer guy that has some good potential here. But again, I don't Purdue's offense with last year wasn't anything to write home about. So it's one of those things, you can be a great guy on a team that's not going anywhere, but when you get thrown into amongst of other great players, how do you respond? I just need to see it from Max Clare. I need to see it from Will, who's stepping up to another level here with playing at Ohio State as well. But that's why I have this position group at number 7.
Yeah, for me at number 7, I went defensive line here. And I was a little concerned about the depth on the interior. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, I think the addition of Bo Atkinson was probably what made it a little bit better for me. I'm really excited about him. I think he gives us a lot of flexibility. The moving down to CJ Hicks. I think we're going to see maybe some more rushman package in those third down situations where we get 3 of these ends in there that just go crazy. And again, Larry Johnson is the GOAT. Best defensive line coach ever in college football. So I'm going to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, even though we're a little thin on that interior. I really feel good about the defensive line here.
Number 7 here. Oh, where did I have? Oh, yeah, running backs is where I'm at with number 7. I like CJ. I like his new look. I like his sleek look. Losing 20 pounds. He looks a lot quicker in that first step. Um, it's probably they had him heavy at West Virginia, probably because they knew he was going to take a beating when he did play. But they want him to be a goal line guy, I think, a lot of times, and a short yardage guy. But we're going to use him a little differently, I think, here. And I like Peoples. I think he's talented. But again, I just got to see it. And I like Bo Jackson, talented. Just got to see it. It's a lot of unproven in the room. That's the only thing that gets me with it. Other than that, I love the talent. I love the guys I got. I think it can be and quite frankly, they're probably going to have to lean on the run game a little bit this year. So those guys better step up. So we'll be able to tell early on.
This is where I got the tight ends. Yeah, Max Clare, that's a great addition. Don't sleep on Bennett Christian. I think he's probably one of the better blocking tight ends we have on the team. I mean, the dude literally set out a year for roids, so I mean that had to account for something physically, right? So hopefully he puts that to work. I'm only kidding. No, I do think he's good, but you know, this is a deep position room, and so you got to feel like we're going to get a couple of these guys step up and play well this year. All right, last two. Number 8.
Number 8, I went with quarterbacks here. Toss up between 8 and 9 for me with these two groups, but I went with quarterback here. I like Julian Sayin and Kyle Holtz. I think both of those guys, and especially I love the way um, Holtz responded this spring, right? Everybody kind of penciled in saying as the starter, but Lincoln went out and showed that competitive drive, that he wants to be the guy, and made this an actual competition to the point that we're still going into fall camp with those guys duking it out for that starting position at the Ohio State University as the quarterback, which is one of the most prestigious positions in all of college football. So I I like, because of that competition, that drive, whoever asserts themselves as the guy, I think is going to be somebody that can lead us to where we want to go, which is another national championship this year, because they've actually earned it, and they've earned it through the fire, so to speak. So I went with this position group, number 8.
Number 8 for me, I went tight ends. I love Max Clare. I love what he has the ability to bring. I think we've got a great blocking duo in Cass Merrick and Christian, who can both catch the ball as well. And I think we got some great young guys in there. And Jelani Thurman, we've been sitting here waiting for this guy to pop for a couple of years now. But, I think that with all that being said, we've got one really good blocker that's proven. We have one really good pass catcher that's proven, but they're not the same guy.
Right.
So for me, I think we still got some questions at tight end. I do like the room. I think that Keenan Bailey is going to be able to do a lot with this room. But where they rank at right now for me is at 8.
I went with Jamal here, number 8 quarterbacks. You know what? I'm going to build off what Jamal said. I'm going to say it's a good problem to have that two guys are duking it out. Because you're right. If they would said like 2 weeks of the spring, okay, Sands our starter, I'd have been like, oh gosh, is the rest of the room just that trash? So I like the fact that Keenholz stepped up, and I love the fact that competition breeds greatness, and I love the fact that it's going to push Sand to be even better, because if he's going to be the guy, we're going to need him to be. But if Keenholz beats him out, then we know he earned it. So it's a win-win either way. Tavian St. Clair, he's on deck. We know he's going to be a guy down the road, so we ain't worried about him. But we know it's just not his time right now. But he's going to be a guy. I like the room. It's just you talk about unproven. This is the most unproven position group in all of the whole team. So the only thing I love Ryan Day. The only knock I ever have on him is in blowouts. He just refuses to play the backup quarterback and let him get some reps in for the next. It's like, dude, CJ's leaving. Will Howard's leaving. It's like play the next guy a little bit more to get him some reps. Even Cooper used to say he regretted not playing. I know nobody loves Belisari, but Cooper actually takes credit in him not developing the way he should have, because he says, I didn't play him hardly at all that last year. I just played Jermaine. So I just the only knock I have on Ryan Day. I wish he would do more of that, but he's forgotten more about football in the last hour than I'll ever know in my life. So it's like, who am I to question him?
Yeah. Quarterbacks. You guys have said it all, so no sense in reinventing the wheel there. I agree with everything you guys said. Which brings us to our final position group, number 9, Jamal.
And so for me, this is where I threw on the defensive line, where, you know, our most proven guy is a transfer from North Carolina. I just, it's a lot of talent, a lot of potential, but just across the board, really nobody that's proven that they are a guy. So I had to go with this position group as number 9 for me.
For me, that number 9 group is the quarterbacks. You guys talked about it. Very, very inexperienced. We got a new quarterback coach in there in Billy Fessler. We got Lincoln Keenholz is the most experienced of the guys who is there, except for Eli Brickhandler, who is the one who comes in with more yards than the other 3 combined, with 2,600 total yards.
At a very low level, though.
And I agree with that, Eric, at a very low level. And that's what's frightening, is we don't have, Julian saying, I think, has all the promise in the world. But the fact is, he hasn't done anything yet. I have to see it. So I'm going with quarterbacks at 9.
I'm also defensive line at 9. We have guys I like. I like Kenyatta Jackson Jr. I think he's going to be good. I like Edric Houston. I think he's going to be a monster. Caden McDonald is fun. Caden Curry I like Bo. But nobody's proven it at a starter position just yet. And honestly, and I hate to say it, is Caden got the cardio to go many more downs because he's a big dude. And that was Tyleik Williams' knock for early in his career. He didn't have the cardio. So I'm wondering, okay, we don't have the depth there. These guys are going to have to play a lot. So I don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen from it. I mean, Larry Johnson's great. I think the players, it's top heavy. I think we got a lot of talent at the top level. I don't know what's really behind them. We'll see. But right now, they're the position I have the most concern about, probably.
Yeah, guys, we're replacing four starters who all got drafted in the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
That's real.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're Ohio State. We reload. We don't rebuild. I get that, but
next man up, Eric.
Next man up, Eric.
You guys killing me. It's just real, guys. It's a real concern, and that's where my concern lies. Maybe what would be really cool, guys, if we all come back at the end of the year and redo this again and see how this list looks differently at the end of the season as compared to, here we are on June 1st going into the season. But that is where we're at. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. After the 2-minute break, we will come back and we'll do a Q&A with Jamal. So, guys in the chat, get your questions ready for the national champion. If you attach a super chat to that, you get moved to the front and you will guaranteed to have your question answered. So hang tight, everybody. We'll be right back.
Hey, Buckeye Nation. The OHIO podcast is thrilled to partner with Export Mouthguards, the innovators redefining protection in contact sports. Introducing the Ninja Pro Mouthguard, the strongest and most advanced mouthguard on the market. Engineered by dental experts, it's designed to deliver elite protection with a sleek, low-profile fit. Made with carbon fiber and multi-layer construction, it's impact tested to keep you safe from even the hardest hits. But that's not all. The Ninja Pro is 3D printed for 100% custom fit, offering unbeatable comfort and security for any athlete. From football to MMA, dominate your game with confidence while safeguarding your teeth and jaw. Getting started is easy. Use our home impression kit to create your custom fit and enjoy prepaid shipping. It's protection delivered right to your door. Plus, with a 1-year warranty and 100% satisfaction guarantee, and proudly made in the USA, the Ninja Pro is your ultimate defense on the field or in the ring. And here's the best part. When you visit exportguards.com, use promo code OHIO at checkout to get 20% off your purchase. That's right, 20% off elite protection made just for you. Protect your game, protect your future. Choose Export Ninja Pro mouthguards, where innovation meets protection. Head to exportguards.com and use promo code OHIO today.
The OHIO podcast is brought to you by Mastermind. Mastermind specializes in 360-degree high-definition mobile video mapping, GIS integration, and traffic safety studies. Mastermind cares about traffic safety and keeping you safe on the roadway. Visit Mastermind at onlinemastermind.com. And once again, we are so thankful for today's episode being brought to you by A Place at Home Senior Care. If your loved one's recovering from a recent hospitalization, stroke, or fall, living with dementia, needs home support, needs reminders for medication, A Place at Home Dublin provides all that home care support for you. And trust me, folks, they are fantastic at what they do. You can learn more at aplaceathome.com/Dublin or give them a call. Better yet, just call them up, 740-472-8181. All right, guys, go ahead and put your questions for Jamal in the chat. And again, if you attach a super chat to that, it gets moved to the front. Hey, we appreciate the help. You know what I'm saying? All right, Jamal, we'll start here first. I'll let Cory, you get a question ready here, and then Chris, you can follow up here. But Jamal, we've talked to you before about your time at Ohio State a couple years ago when we had you on, and my affinity for Coach Tress is I love that man. He is still my favorite coach of all time, probably will always be. When was the last time you got a chance to talk to him, and what has he helped you with personally beyond football?
Yeah, great question, E. So last time I got a chance to connect with Coach Tress was at the swearing in of him as the lieutenant governor for our great state. And that was an incredible time. Just, I mean, there was probably at least 100 of his former players between OSU and Youngstown State that had attended the event. Him and Miss Ellen had a private ceremony beforehand for the players. So it was just a great time to reconnect with him, with old teammates. Um, but Coach Tress is doing his thing. I would love to see him run for governor for the state. I think it would be a great thing for our state. But we'll see what happens there. But Coach Tress helped me. He's one of the most influential men that have crossed paths in my life. For me, he was the first person that taught me about the value of personal growth, not just the value of being a great football player, but the value of becoming the type of man that you want to show up in the world, and how when you become that person, it bleeds over into every area of your life, whether it is football or whether it is being a parent or whether it is being an employee or whether it is being an entrepreneur. The first thing you need to do and the most thing that you need to work the hardest on is you yourself. And then when you become the person who you desire to be, everything else in your life will be beneficial, will be better. And so he was the first person that I encountered at age 19, 20 years old that taught me, but taught my teammates as well. And the way he would do that is he had us read books. I remember him handing out books every summer. We had to read a book for personal growth. And, back in that time, we were all like, why are we doing this? But now you understand the value of what he was getting across to us. And that's a practice that not only myself, but many of my teammates carry on to this day, where we start our day every day with some type of personal growth, whether it's reading or listening. But that's the foundation that he started for us.
That's a great answer. Awesome. All right, Cory, fire away, buddy.
Yeah, we've had football players on here, and I know you've been here before as well. But I've always wanted to ask this question. I always forget, so I'm going to ask it up front.
Mhm.
What is it like to I know football is your love, your passion. You you work so hard at it. What's it like transitioning to just going into your life after you realize, okay, football is not in the cards for me at the NFL level, so I'm going to go into my life now?
It's not easy, Corey. It's
Mhm.
not easy, and it's something that a lot of guys wrestle with for years. I know um, it took me a few years, at least 2 to 3 years, to really kind of find something in life that I was passionate about once football was done. I did the draft came and went after my senior year, didn't get picked up. Started training and trying out for Canadian League teams. Got close to being signed, and then that fell through. And then Arena League teams got close to being signed on 2 different occasions. Then that fell through, and it was kind of like, every you've been playing football. For me, I'd been playing football since I was 9, and every time there was the next level, I always achieved it. So little league football, then I got into junior high, achieved that, then got into high school, achieved that, got varsity in high school, achieved that, Ohio State, achieved that. So you just naturally think, okay, the next level is NFL. I've been
Mhm.
achieving the next level. And then when that next level never comes, after you've been achieving the next level for so long, it really is a rude awakening. And it's like, okay, as much as you try to not put your identity into being a football player, you really have those questions in your head, like, who am I now? I'm not a football player anymore. And so, I found myself as a teacher. That was my first big boy job, after my playing days. And it was like, I was a phys ed teacher. I was teaching K through 8. And I remember vividly like rolling out kickballs. And I'm like, man, what the heck am I doing right now? Like, I went from running out in front of 100,000 people and signing autographs, and everybody wants to know, take pictures with you and all this stuff, to now I am rolling out kickballs and yelling at kids to get back in line. Um, so, and it was tough. It was mentally tough, but thankfully, again, those principles that Coach Trust taught us about continuing to work harder on you than anything else you do, that was something that I continue to do. And because of that, I found my way into different opportunities with business that really lit that fire and that passion in me again, around, something outside of football that I could get excited about every day. But those only came about because I continued to grow me.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. I
Yeah, good
appreciate that.
answer. All
Yeah.
right, Chris, I saw you giggle with the get back in line statement.
Yeah, I've used that more than
You
once.
school teacher, you.
I've used that one more than once. So,
Yeah.
Jamal, what's a memorable maybe moment, locker room moment or practice moment that's stuck with you through the years?
Ooh, there's so many of them, Chris. I mean, there's the comedy. The locker room is such a comedic event day in, day out. And you have guys that are the comedians of the team. For us, my time, it was C Grant. C Grant was probably he's probably one of the most funniest individuals um ever. Like, he's just that stand-up comedian level funny. So you think about, there's certain songs that I hear now, and I'll think it'll trigger a memory of C Grant saying something just totally crazy and hilarious. So you miss those type of moments. So those memorable comedic moments, I call it. But then, one of the memories that I'll never forget is just our time in Arizona, my junior year, when we won the national championship. I remember getting off the plane for that bowl game, and we had at least 3 to 4 thousand OSU fans waiting for us to get off the plane there, and just that whole week of bowl practice, and culminating in one of the biggest victories in OSU football history, and then staying up all night back at our hotel with alumni and boosters and some fans, and it was just an incredible, incredible moment. for sure.
All right. So I have a little plan here, Chris, Corey, Jamal. We're going to do this. Jamal, you're going to pick the best question tonight from this moment on from the chat, and whichever question you like the most, and that person is going to receive this. It's got Jamal's autograph up here on it. Okay, we got Alan DeGraff and Reed and Mike Wargo on this little mini helmet here. So we will send this out. Okay, to whoever Jamal thinks offered the best question tonight for you guys. So here we go. Let's start with the super chat. Bobby Mack with a $2 super chat. Jamal, who is your Mount Rushmore of wide receivers?
Ooh, Mount Rushmore. Um, oh, okay. I always butcher this. Don't judge me, fellas. I went to public schools. Mount Rushmore is 3 or 4.
Four.
4.
Or
Okay. All right. I don't know why I always want to limit it to 3. All right, 4. So my top 4, I gotta put. So my guy is Terry Glenn. Terry Glenn for me. I'm a Columbus City kid. I grew up watching Terry Glenn at Brookhaven, and so I followed his journey. I studied Terry Glenn, like I patterned my whole game after Terry Glenn. He was the reason why I dressed in my uniform the way I did, why I wore a visor. So Terry Glenn for me is my number one receiver, and had one of the most incredible seasons in OSU football history in 1995. So I got to put TG up there. I would also put Chris Carter up there for sure. Um, and then, man, so many good ones. Eesh.
It's tough.
I gotta put my guy Michael Jenkins up there. I gotta put Jang up there. Michael was, so obviously I played with Michael, but Michael, big play wide receiver, big play after big play. There's a couple times in that national championship year without Jang's big play, that's what we call him, Jang. Without his big play ability, we don't make it. Obviously the Purdue game, but you think about that fourth down and overtime in the national championship game, that big comeback catch that Mike had. So I've got to put Jang up there as my third. And then for 4, I guess mm, mm, 4, I'm gonna go with Jeremiah Smith. I'm gonna go with Jeremiah Smith. I know he's only done it for 1 year, but the thing that impresses me about Jeremiah Smith is not only did he have an extraordinary year in his first season, a true freshman, but he came in as the number one recruited player in the country. So not oftentimes do you get the combination of somebody coming in with that hype and then living up to the hype and maybe even surpassing it a little bit his true freshman year in college football. So I would have to put Jeremiah Smith as 4.
Excellent. Biggie Pods with a $5 holler. I know who this is. No, it is not me. Although it is, but it isn't. It's Ryan Day's championship beard with the question here.
It's a multiverse. Yeah.
Yeah, shouting out $1 million holla to thank Jamal for coming on the show. What is your favorite era of Ohio State football?
Oh, no doubt, early 2000s. The
Yeah,
Coach
it's one
Trust
you
era.
played in, right?
Yeah, that's an easy question. Yeah. The transition from Coach Coops, I was there for Coach Coops last year, so I saw the transition. What Coach Trust did in transforming the program and taking it to um, the national powerhouse level of actually getting it done on the national stage, it set the course for what Ohio State football is today. So, by far, the early 2000s golden era.
Okay. Let me see here. Next question. I don't understand this one. Maybe you can help. You guys can help interpret this for me. Jar of Happiness. Hey Jamal, how can I learn more about YDC? I don't know what YDC is.
Oh, okay. So that's my business. That's my LLC.
Oh,
So
okay.
why? Yeah, YDC is my my LLC that I do my business ventures under. So I do public speaking, so I do that under my LLC, and then I also do my insurance business and trading business under there as well. So um, if you need me to come speak, we can talk about that. If you need some insurance, we can talk about that. If you want to learn how to trade, we can talk about that as well. So those are all the ventures that are under my YDC umbrella.
Got it. Excellent. Thank you so much. Lisa
Absolutely.
Sims. Lisa Sims says, "How would you handle NIL if you were a current player?"
Invest properly. Invest properly, because the money that the kids are making these days in college football, you can really set up generational wealth if you invest properly. So I think the key is for these guys to have some people in their corner that are teaching them where to put their money so that their money can go to work for them, so that when football is done, whether it's done after OSU or whether it's done after playing it professionally, you can live off the interest that your money is going to work for you from. Because when you make six figures, if you invest it properly, you should never have to work for anybody else the rest of your life.
Nice.
And a lot of these guys are making six plus figures. A lot.
Yeah. All right. We will continue marching on here. Let's see here. I've got them all starred. Let's make sure that I didn't miss one here. No, I see you. I see you, Vader. You're coming up here. Tyler, Jamal, I have a question for you. What this is the most Tyler question ever.
This is pretty Tyler, yeah.
Yeah, this is right on par, Tyler. What punishment do you want for Michigan that would satisfy you individually?
I'm honestly, Tyler, I don't even care about it at this point. The punishment, I mean, the NCAA right now is just kind of like that dad that's lost control of their kids. So I don't really get caught up on their punishment. It doesn't really matter. Right? Right now, we just need to beat them, period, and
That's right.
establish control back in that rivalry. Um, I really don't care about them being punished. It doesn't serve us moving forward. So yeah, doesn't matter.
I can tell you as a podcaster, the content is great.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Great content for us. Absolutely. Oh, let's keep her going here. Buck Vader. I'm from a little south of Youngstown, so I love Tressel. What was it like winning a natty with him? Ooh, good question with that there, with the
Great question.
putting the Tressel twist on it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a dream come true. I think about it honestly every day, that how fortunate I was to play for him, and not only play for him, but play for him at that time when he was first hired. Um, and for a kid like myself that grew up in Columbus, that grew up around Ohio State football, because my uncle played there in the '70s, having that, it's been in my blood, and to be able to be a part of a program that I dreamed of playing for, but then to win the national championship, but then to win it for a guy, playing for a guy that taught us how to be great men. It doesn't get any better than that, because it really encompasses your whole being, not just physically, but also spiritually as well. So couldn't have scripted it any better.
Oh, Bobby Mack with another $5 holler. Why do so many former players get into insurance sales? I feel like I've met at least 20 former players slinging insurance. That's a good question, actually.
it's it's uh it's the drive, it's the hunger, it's the closest thing to being an athlete again. So you'll see a lot of guys get into sales, period, not just insurance. You'll see a lot of athletes get into sales because sales is a platform where you can thrive and excel and get rewarded based on your works again. Just like we did as athletes. We knew if we put in the work, we would get a reward. Well, most most industries outside of sales, you can put no matter how much work you put in, you're going to make so much, and that's it. Doesn't matter if you work 12 hours a day or you work 4 hours a day. Well, in sales, especially insurance, your income isn't capped. So I know if I work harder, I'm going to make more money. And so that's why you'll see a lot of athletes go into that industry because of the correlation to athletics.
Aaron says, Jamal, what does being an Ohio State Buckeye mean to you?
That's a great question, Aaron. What a Buckeye, being a Buckeye means to me is um, responsibility. I think we had this question last time I was on,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, really, it's responsibility. It's a responsibility to your family, responsibility to your community, responsibility to the university, responsibility to the current Buckeyes, to be an example of what it looks like to be a person of integrity, a person of character, and a person that um, is willing to walk in love and to walk in the highest form of being because you understand who's looking up to you. You know, when your playing days are over, you may not have as many eyeballs that are watching you, but you still have a certain section of eyeballs that are watching you just because of who you are and just because of what you accomplished years ago. And so you have a responsibility to those eyeballs to lead by example with the way you treat people, with the way you lead your family, with the way you lead in the community.
Cory, you got another one on the mind here?
I got a million of them if you want.
Go for it, brother.
Just keep your Jamal. Just be here all night. Keep them up. Let me ask you something. Okay, I'm really curious about this. I know Urban was a bit of a he'll yell at you, he'll get in your face kind of coach. What was Tressel's like trademark as a coach? Was he like a Zen Buddhist? He give you some ancient wisdom, or would he ever get loud? Would he ever get on your case?
Yeah, Coach Trust wouldn't yell, and he didn't need to yell. And I think that's the key with coaches is be your authentic self because players can spot authenticity and they can spot fakeness. And Coach Trust wasn't a yeller. He was a person that he has an uncanny way of just tapping in, literally tapping into your soul. And he would just ask you, what type of person do you want to be?
I hear you.
And do you feel like your actions right now are in correlation with the type of person you want to be? And so he would just put literally,
Mhm.
that type of laser focus in on your soul, and it would literally wake you up like, okay, I need to get my stuff together and get in line here if this is what I want to do and who I want to be. And so that was his way. He would tap into the spirit of you to get you to perform on the outside.
And also, that was a great answer. I appreciate that. I also want to add that Terry Glenn made me a Buckeye fan. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
I love me some Terry Glenn for sure.
Yeah, man.
All right, here's one from Roy, and then Chris, you can get the next one. Roy says, you mentioned that Tressel made you read books. One book you guys read was Expanding Your Horizon. My
Hmm.
question is, what lesson did you take from that book?
No, you're gonna take me back, Roy. Shoot, Roy, that was over 20 years ago, man. I'm gonna be honest. Um, that book really taught us the value of your team, playing for your family, and that book really brought us together. For me, it opened my eyes that these were more than my teammates. We were a family. And so that's what it was about, like expanding our horizons to understand, don't just look at your teammate as your teammate, but that's your brother, because you're always going to do more for your family than you would just a teammate. And so that was a way that Coach Tress used that book to help us really look at each other like family.
Chris, your question next, and Steely, your question will be after Chris's.
All right, Jamal, looking back, is there anything that you would have done differently
Mm,
during your college football career?
absolutely, Chris. That's a great question. I would have believed much bigger, much faster. I think one of the things I look back at my career now, one of the things that limited me was just my own self-belief. Like I had enough. It's crazy too because my story of how I got to Ohio State is really one of belief that blows most people's minds. I won't share it now because we'll be here till like 10 o'clock. But when I got onto the team, when I made the team, um, there was another level of belief in myself that I could have went to that I didn't. And that's probably my biggest regret is I didn't believe big enough faster.
Hmm,
Gotcha.
interesting. We'll have to dissect that sometime. That's an
Yeah.
interesting answer.
Yeah.
Steely Matt, who's your best friend from the teammates you played with?
Best friend from my teammates. I would say from my actual teammate. Now, I would say my best friend, one of my best friends in life is Jimmy Bell, who played in the early '90s. Um, well, Jimmy was there for like 8 years. He was there from like, and I swear, I think Jimmy was there from like '92 to '90 through '98 because he got red shirted, had a medical red shirt. Like he had all the shirts. So Jimmy's probably my best friend in life. But then I also from my era, guys that I played with, um, I've got several close friends that I still talk to on a daily basis. Jaja Riley, who ended up transferring to UNLV. Jaja and I talk almost every day. Maurice Hall. We're doing some business stuff with his film work that he's doing out in Hollywood. So yeah, several guys from my era, from my team that we talk on a regular basis. We were a really, really close knit team, which is what made us have the success that we had.
All right, Corey, back to you, brother.
Oh, back to me. Okay, I got a hot take for you. Who would win, 2002 or 2024?
Ooh.
That's a good. I'm
That's
gonna
good
go
for
with
you.
us. I'm gonna go with us.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
all
go
right.
with us. And I'm gonna say because of our defense, I think our defense was next level. Um, and so I would go with us. Buckeye on Buckeye crime there.
Okay, okay. Now hold on, hold on. I'm jumping in on this one. More impressive, you guys breaking the U or 2024's college football playoff run?
Oh, good one.
Oh, breaking the U.
He did. There was
Because that
Because
no
happened right since.
hesitation.
you gotta look at this because how many had they won in a row?
21 or so, yeah.
Yeah, and 20 23 years later, have they done anything since?
No.
I mean, we literally ended the they've been irrelevant for the last 23 years, and we ended their 20 plus game win streak.
And
So for
and
me, that hands down,
Jamal,
yeah.
didn't that Miami team actually have like 28 guys drafted as well?
They had
It was
28.
some
We
absurd
had
number.
we had we had over 20 in that game as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, that game was littered with draft picks.
Tyler's got one. Chris, you're up next. Jamal, if you were to work on this team now as a coach, what would you teach your players?
Work harder on yourself than you do your craft. Yep. Work harder on becoming the man you want to be in life than you do your craft. Because if you become the person you want to be, the craft will take care of itself.
Chris.
All right, Jamal. Gonna get you going here. Who is the best defender you ever personally went up against, whether it was in a game or in practice?
Yeah, I would say Derek Ross.
He was a good one.
Yeah.
Derek Ross. D. Ross was incredible. Now there was some tough Nate Clements, Chris Gamble I throw in there too. Very just long, athletic. could turn and run. I mean, but Derrick Ross was just another level. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the national championship game. At what point did you think to yourself, or did you actually stop and think to yourself, we're going to win this thing?
When we got that fourth down in overtime, what was it,
Okay.
4th and 15? Um, yeah, when we got that fourth down in overtime, that's when it sunk in that I think we're gonna do this tonight. Yeah,
I love it. God, I'm getting
yeah.
goosebumps, guys. I wasn't even there.
Makes you want to rewatch it, doesn't it, Eric?
It does. You know how many times I've
Right.
watched that? I've watched that game more than any other game in my life. I have watched that
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Off-season watch party.
We
I'm
we
gonna, and
sh-
I'm gonna
we
be honest
should.
with you guys, like the coolest part about I'd say that and just my whole experience for me, what really gets me going and gets me pumped is that I get to set that example for my son. Like just seeing my son loves the game of football. He's 9 years old. Um, and so I count my blessings every day that I get to be a real life example for him that it's possible. Because that's what my uncle was for me. Like I said, he played for Ohio State in the '70s, and so I grew up watching his film and wanting to be like him. So I grew up knowing that okay, it is possible to do this, and so to be able to now provide that and offer that to my son, that makes everything, all the experiences worth it for me.
Cory.
I do want to ask you a question, but I also love the Archie moment before the national title game where everybody's talking about Miami's speed. And he goes, I don't think you realize how fast the Buckeyes are. And I love that comment to a
Yeah,
commentator. What
yeah.
was your favorite memory from that year?
Outside of the obvious, like
Yeah, I
winning
mean,
it,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
I would say, mm, probably, the summer camp,
Hmm.
the because we knew coming off of that the way we lost to South Carolina in the Outback Bowl, um, the winter workouts that next couple months were on a whole nother level, and then that summer camp was extremely competitive and hard, but that just the bonding that really took place that summer, um you know it was on another level than it had been the previous summer. And so I think about that now, like that was a really special summer. We didn't know it. I mean, obviously we had aspirations of winning it all, winning the Big Ten first, beating Michigan, and then winning it all. But we didn't know for a fact that that was going to happen. But we all knew the way we were coming together in that summer was something special. So that whole summer camp was probably my next greatest memory for that year.
Buck Vader asked, what do you think is better and worse about college football than when you played?
I would say what's worse is there's no guardrails at all. It feels like now we had too many guardrails, but now there's like zero guardrails. So I would say that's worse. I mean, transfer portal, you got guys leaving before their bowl game and stuff like there needs to be a windows of when guys can leave. They need to get some reins on that. So that's what's worse. What's better is the NIL. I think that's long overdue. And so the fact that guys can actually profit off of revenue that they're responsible for generating is definitely a win, definitely deserved. And so that's much better for sure.
I love this question from Troy. This I feel like this is something, Cory, you would ask. What was more infuriating in that 2002 national championship game? The refs calling that gamble catch incomplete, or them missing the blatant hold of his jersey on the same exact play?
Yeah, that was more infuriating that they threw the flag so late because that perpetuated all the drama, and I think it gives more argument for the Miami players and fans that it was a bad call because the flag was so late. If they had thrown it as he was getting held, there'd be no question because he was clearly getting held.
A $5 super chat from Ryan Day's Championship Beer. What was the locker room like when you guys found out that they had a flyer printed out for a Miami championship winning party? Ooh, we are a family rated program here, Jamal. So keep it PG rated.
Oh, did we lose him?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, dang.
Oh man, what a
Let's
great
give
catch.
him a minute. Let's give him a
Yeah,
minute.
we'll give him a minute to come back
He's
on.
dodging the question.
Did you see Aaron's question just above that one as
Yeah,
well?
I know. That's the one I thought it's gonna be.
Ooh, that could be a show by itself.
Oh yeah, we might have to explore that one, Chris.
We could argue the snot out of that one all night.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that one down. We might come up with that one on our own here. So, Aaron's question was Maurice or Jeremiah. All right,
All right,
Jamal, we got you
okay.
back
Sorry
on. All
about
right,
that, guys.
no problem. What was the locker room like when you guys found out that they had a flyer printed out for a Miami championship winning party?
Oh, it lit a fire in us. Like, I mean, we were already motivated, but that just took it to another level because we saw the arrogance and the cockiness, like smack dab in our face at that point. And, we had a couple teammates from Florida that got the flyers, brought them back. And, yeah, that zeroed us in at a whole nother level after we saw those flyers. That was the ultimate smack in the face.
All right, here's one from Aaron for you. Whose freshman year was more special, Maurice Claret or Jeremiah Smith?
Hmm.
Mm.
That's a tough question. I'm gonna I, and I may be biased, but I'm gonna go with Reese on this one. I think I think without Jeremiah Smith, they still win the national championship this year. As great as he was, I think they still win the national championship. Without Maurice, we don't win it.
Mm.
So I think
So
that's the difference.
that being said, follow-up question. What was going through the locker room when he was wanting to go back to Columbus for the funeral for his high school friend and the whole tick for tat that the athletic department was having with him about that?
Yeah, it was definitely there was some awkwardness there for all of us as teammates, because of the back and forth. Um, but the great thing about Maurice is he's a dialed in individual, period. Even to this day, he's dialed in with his endeavors, with his life. And once he's dialed in, he doesn't waver. He's one of the most focused individuals I've ever met. And so even as all of that was going on, when it was time to put on the pads and practice, he was dialed in like nothing else was going on. And so when as much as was going on in the media, when we would go to practice, he was the same old Reese. And so that gave us confidence that okay, he's gonna be ready to play come game time. So that was all we needed to see.
One from Tyler, and then Cory and Chris, get ready for your last questions this evening. Tyler says, how did you celebrate the Buckeyes winning this national championship? So how did you celebrate this most recent national championship?
Oh, I was just with family and a few friends, so we were watching it and just had a couple beverages and some good food and enjoyed it. Nothing too crazy.
Cory.
I want to know, like, how long did it take you to know that Maurice was special because I got I'm in Florida. I've been born and raised in Florida, but I've been a Buckeye fan down here forever. Internet was kind of not as powerful it is now. Back then, I heard rumors that this guy was really good. But I had no insider knowledge. How long did you guys know? Like, okay, this dude's different.
Fall camp.
Hmm.
Yeah, that camp, because in the spring he came and enrolled early, but he couldn't participate fully because he was battling an injury. So he could do some stuff in the spring, but he wasn't full go. So we didn't get to really get the full scope of how incredible of a player he was in the spring. But that fall camp when he was full go, um, he was just a beast, right from the jump, and leapfrogged all the other backs in that camp because of his he could do it all. He could block, he could catch out of the backfield. He had an uncanny vision, and then he had the speed to take it the distance. And so we knew in that camp that he was the real deal.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I knew a little before that. I in the late '90s, early 2000s, I had the fortune of living in Warren. Got to
Okay.
see him play under Warren G. Harding.
Oh, he
Yeah.
was a
So,
legend, wasn't he?
oh, amazing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
So, all right, I gotta ask. Just tell us something that most fans do not realize about what it takes or what it means to be a Buckeye, as far as
Hmm.
playing for the Buckeyes. Just something we're never gonna know because we aren't there.
Hmm. Um, Good question, Chris. I would say most fans don't realize the full-time commitment that it is. They see Saturdays, they know about the spring ball, they know about, summer camp, but most folks don't understand, the 6 a.m. workouts from January up until spring ball starts, or, you know, having to in the summer before you start camp, you're running gassers for times every day out in the 90-degree heat. Um, so, and it's a full year. I mean, there's probably 2 weeks in the year where you have no football activities. So most fans don't understand that. And so when I hear people complain about the NIL, when you know how much work these guys put in, and this is whether you're Jeremiah Smith or you're the last guy on the roster. If you're on the team, you're all putting in the same work, and that work you're putting in is generating billions of dollars for an entity. It's only right that you at least are able to have the opportunity to profit off of some of that, right?
Right.
Because you're putting in work, like I said, every week, every day, not every day, but at least 4 days a week, um, for every week in the year, except for maybe 2 weeks. So most fans don't understand the work that goes into the product you see on Saturdays.
Gotcha.
One final question, Ryan Day's championship beard. Do you like the BCS or the playoff system better?
Playoff system by far. Yeah, I think this system, this format where you have more than 4 teams, it allows the champion to really be the champion. They have to earn
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
this is a great format.
All right, Jamal, we need you to pick a winner. What was your favorite question?
I'm gonna go Mount Rushmore. That first one came out the gates fire, and I gotta go Mount Rushmore wide receivers.
Oh, there we go. All right. Let's see who it was here. I don't even
Bobby Mack,
remember.
wasn't it?
Was it Bobby?
It was Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby Mack, buddy. Got yourself an autograph, man. So we'll be sending that to you, Bobby. We'll mail that to you this week, my man. And congratulations, Jamal. Tell everybody once again where they can get a hold of you if they want to. They need your assistance with day trading or insurance, public speaking, etc.
Yeah, any of the social media platforms, JLukeYDC, JLukeYDC, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Let's connect. I look forward to meeting and hearing from all of you.
All right, guys. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, the call-in show. Chris will be manning that one tomorrow. Tuesday night, big show with the Buckeye Lounge. Another great guest lined up Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. And then the call-in show Thursday night with myself here at the OHIO Podcast. Jamal, we appreciate you joining us this evening, my friend, once again. You are the best, my man. I just love spending time with you. You're always so gracious and so humble, and we really do appreciate you here at the OHIO Podcast, my brother.
Hey, thank you again, brother. I appreciate the opportunity. And anytime you need me, man, definitely give me a shout.
All right, guys, you all know the drill by now. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. Till next time, OH.
Hi.
IO.
Ayo.
Go Bucks.